Hey, this is Tom, and I gotta be honest with you, this is gonna be an extremely uber nerdy video. So, unless you care about taxation and stuff like macroeconomics, this video is probably not for you. Wait until tomorrow. I'm gonna make some more funny videos, but this video is something I'm passionate about. I specifically have a lot of passion towards tax. I know this sounds weird, but I think tax drives the universe. Now, you may disagree, you may agree. I don't care. That's what I think. And yesterday, I saw Secretary Yellen. By the way, I don't think we can say secretary anymore. Flight attendant Yellen, I don't know what to call her, go on national TV and talk about the latest plan from the House of Biden and crew. Basically, taxing unrealized capital gains. Now, in this interview, of course, which I'm going to show clips of in a second, she talked about why this will only apply to the 700 or so billionaires the US actually has and will not apply to any of you regular Joes. And in this video, I'll show you why you should care about this, even if you don't make $1 million per year, even if you're a regular guy or girl or a horse, you should care about this. And in a second, I'll show you why. But first of all, as always, don't click nothing, don't smash nothing, don't subscribe to nothing. Just listen to me because this is actually very interesting and I'm way more excited about you listening to me than clicking some vanity number buttons. I don't care about that. So the first thing I want to do here is actually explain what's being proposed here. And in case you're a tax nerd like me and you know exactly what unrealized capital gains taxation is, I'm going to put a timestamp for you to skip ahead. But you might want to stick around with this because I don't script these, so there might be a few funny moments in the next 30 seconds. So consider this. So the proposal here, and I'm really struggling to come up with a country that does anything similar. I think the US might be the first Western country to actually propose something like this. The proposal, quite simply, is to tax people on unrealized capital gains. A capital gain is when you have a share and that share appreciates in price and then you actually have a benefit, right? So if you bought a share of Apple, you bought it at 100, 2 years later it's worth 150, you made $50. This is your capital gains. And in this current system, unless you decide to sell it, you don't have to pay tax because for one simple reason, you don't meet the money. It's a very, very basic principle in every taxation system that until you meet the money, until you realize, you shouldn't be paying tax because where would you pay the tax from? How could they tax you on something you haven't sold yet? That's ridiculous, but this is exactly what's being proposed here. Basically, to come at people that have unrealized capital gains, basically shares that have appreciated in value but have not been sold yet, and collect the tax today before they even sell. Now, this proposal is not anything new. This has been in the works since 1957. They're not revolutionary, they're not cutting edge. A lot of people have been talking about this since the 50s, so this is just bringing back old stuff. You know how game developers in video games, they come up with new versions every year and they just circulate the same features, take it out, bring it back 3 years later. Shout out to you, EA Sports and Madden, by the way. But basically, this is just a regurgitated, recycled proposal that has been circulating around for decades. Now, the problem with this proposal is that it ignores the physical sale, the realization event, and applies a tax liability on people who have not received any cash. And much bigger money is actually in that than taxing realizations. Because if you look at the stock market, you probably have about 5% of realizations versus 95% of unrealized gains sitting in the market. That's just normal. And the Biden administration obviously wrote a lot of checks. They have a lot of splaining to do and they need money today. And what's better than to tap into this 95% and collect it from there? And yes, Janet Yellen went on TV and said that this would not apply to regular folks, only to uber extra rich mother lovers with a lot of money. And what she's actually advocating, basically the PR move, is she's saying, well, fighting for the poor against the rich. Yeah, sure. Basically, the claim that she made was that they're trying to fight the step-up basis plan. Well, if the step-up basis pass-through asset sounds like a medical procedure to you and a painful one, hold on, I'll explain it in a second. So she's claiming that they're fighting the current structure of the U.S. estate and gift tax. Basically, if you die in the U.S., the people who inherit your property pay 40% of tax. Now, that's not entirely true because the rich politicians made sure to put in an $11.5 million exemption. So up to $11.5 million passes through to your heirs without any taxation. Lovely. But wait, there's more. The really rich fuckers, they don't even do that. They set up trusts. And in these trusts, which are set up before they die, the assets don't change hands. So when a person has their assets in a trust and that person passes away, the people who actually become beneficiaries of that trust, nothing really happens. So there's no taxation even above $11.5 million. So if you're wondering, well, the rich mother lovers probably pay if they have more than $11.5 million of exemption, right? They pay 40%. No, they don't. If you're rich, you don't pay. That's the way. Hey, so basically, Janet Yellen is saying, we're fighting this. We're fighting this through taxations of unrealized gains. We're going to get these rich mother lovers, right? Well, I don't think that's the reason she's doing it, because this, basically updating these tax codes to tax unrealized gains, is not really going to help against these rich fuckers, because they have the exemption, they have the trust. I think that the real reason is because they need cash today. If Janet Yellen basically fixes the problem by closing the loophole, basically eliminating this rule, no more step-up in basis, you pay from the first dollar, and she basically makes law that you don't get to enjoy this even in a trust structure. Basically eliminate the loopholes, eliminate trust as an exemption from estate tax, and eliminate step-up in basis. From the first dollar, you need to pay estate tax. Why should you not? They can do it and solve the problem, but that won't give them money today, because Janet Yellen and Biden are broke. They need money right now. They need cash. And the only way to get this cash is to come up with a scheme where it seems like they're trying to fight the rich just to tax and get some cash today. So solving the problem is not what they're concerned about. Getting cash today is what is. But at this point, why should you care? The grocery store owner, the people who pay a lot of tax, they pay for gasoline, you pay sales tax, you pay a whole shit of income tax. Why should you care about these rich fuckers? Well, here's the reason. Because what's going to happen right now is going to be a very slippery slope. Once the US tax system accepts the principle of taxing unrealized gains, it's going to start with the 700 or so billionaires. But then, whenever they need money next, you know what they're going to do? They're going to lower the ceiling. They're going to say, well, now only for hundreds of millionaires. Well, now only if you have about 50 million assets, and it's going to slowly cripple down as long as they need money. And what does government need every year more and more? They're like the kid who won't move out at 40. They keep asking you for cash. That's the way the government work. And trust me, once they put in that clause in there, lowering the ceiling is going to be much easier than getting this to pass through. Now, the other problem is a question I want to ask. Do you think they're going to give you losses, unrealized losses? Let's say you bought a stock in your bag holder. Should you get this unrealized loss? There's no way, Jose, you're getting that. So it's going to be completely uneven. Taxing unrealized profits, not giving you unrealized losses. Because you know what? When they came for the billionaires, I didn't speak. When they came for the millionaires, I didn't speak. When they came for me, there was no millionaires and billionaires to speak for me. So basically, in my opinion, it's a very slippery slope. But hey, this is just my opinion. Might be inaccurate, might be wrong, might be the ramblings of a madman. You gotta do your own research. Let me know below what you guys think. And a huge shout out to the channel members and the patrons. You guys are rocking. I love you. See you tomorrow.